I had been married to my husband David for 12 years when I discovered that he had been slowly draining our joint savings account, forging my signature on withdrawal slips, and transferring money to a secret account that I didn't even know existed. I had trusted him completely, never questioned his spending, never checked the account balances, because I believed that we were partners, that we were building a future together, and that he would never do anything to betray my trust or jeopardize our financial security. I was a successful graphic designer with a thriving freelance business, and I had been depositing money into our joint account every month, assuming that David was doing the same with his salary from his job as a regional sales manager. But I was wrong, so completely and devastatingly wrong, because David had been lying to me for years, hiding his spending, hiding his debts, and hiding the fact that he was building a secret life with another woman. I discovered the truth when I received a notification from our bank that our joint account had been overdrawn, and I logged in to check the balance, expecting a minor error or a mistake that we could easily fix. Instead, I found that our account was empty, completely drained of $85,000 that we had been saving for our retirement, for our future, for the life we had planned together. I sat in my office staring at the screen, feeling a cold, numb shock wash over me, and I realized that my husband had stolen from me, had betrayed me, and had destroyed everything we had built together without any remorse or regret. I didn't confront David immediately because I wanted to gather evidence, to understand exactly what he had done, and to make sure that I had all the information I needed before I made any decisions about what to do next. I spent the next few days going through our financial records, checking every single transaction, and tracing the money to a secret account that had been set up in another state under a name that I didn't recognize. I discovered that David had been transferring money to this account for almost 3 years, slowly draining our joint savings while I was working hard and trusting him to be honest with me. I also discovered that the secret account was being used to pay for a house that I didn't know existed, a house that David had bought with the money he had stolen from me, a house that he was sharing with another woman, a mistress who had been living in luxury while I was working myself to exhaustion, trying to build a secure future for the two of us. I felt sick, furious, and completely devastated because I realized that the man I had loved and trusted for 12 years had been living a double life, and I had been completely blind to it. I printed out every single piece of evidence: the bank statements, the transfer records, the escrow papers for the house, and the texts and emails that showed David's relationship with his mistress, and I organized them into a binder that would eventually become the weapon I used to destroy. Didn't scream or cry or confront David when I found out what he had done because I knew that I needed to be strategic, that I needed to play the long game, and that I needed to hit him where it would hurt the most: his reputation, his career, and his public image. I contacted a lawyer, filed for divorce, and started planning the most devastating public exposure that I could imagine. A few weeks later, I reached out to a local news station and told them that I had a story that would shock the entire city. A story about a successful businessman who had stolen from his wife and used the money to build a secret life with another woman. The news station was interested immediately, and they scheduled a live interview with me that would air during their evening broadcast. On the day of the interview, I put on a professional outfit, walked into the studio with my binder of evidence, and calmly explained everything to the reporter as the cameras rolled. I showed the bank statements, the transfer records, the house deeds, and the messages that proved David had been living a double life for years. I looked directly into the camera and said, "I trusted my husband with everything, and he stole from me. He stole my money, my trust, and my future. He doesn't deserve to get away with it." The interview went viral within hours, and David's face was plastered all over the news, social media, and every major outlet in the city. David saw the interview while he was at work, and he called me screaming, cursing, and threatening me with everything he could think of. He said, "How could you do this to me? You've ruined my life. You've destroyed my career." I calmly replied, "You ruined your own life, David. You stole from me. You lied to me. You built a secret life with another woman using money that I earned. You didn't think about me when you were draining our bank account, did you? You didn't think about me when you were buying a house for your mistress, did you? You made your choices, and now you have to live with the consequences." I hung up the phone, blocked his number, and never spoke to him again because I had done everything I needed to do, and I didn't owe him any more of my time or energy. The fallout from the interview was immediate and devastating for David. His boss called him the next day and fired him because his company couldn't afford the negative publicity. His mistress left him because she didn't want to be associated with a man who had been publicly humiliated, and his friends and family abandoned him because they were ashamed of what he had done. He had nothing left, and I had everything: the house, the money, and the knowledge that I had successfully destroyed the man who had tried to destroy me. David tried to fight the divorce, tried to drag it out, and tried to make my life as difficult as possible, but he had no money to pay for a lawyer because I had frozen all his accounts, and the court had ordered him to pay back every single penny he had stolen from me. The judge ruled in my favor, awarding me the house, the full amount of the stolen money with interest and primary custody of our children, who were old enough to understand what their father had done and old enough to be deeply disappointed in him. I didn't want to destroy David's relationship with our children, but I also didn't want to lie to them or protect him from the consequences of his actions, so I told them the truth, that their father had made terrible choices, that he had hurt me deeply, and that he had chosen a different life that didn't include us. They were hurt and angry, and they eventually cut off contact with him because they couldn't forgive him for what he had done to our family. I spent the next few years rebuilding my life, focusing on my career, and healing from the trauma of the betrayal. I started dating again, found a partner who treated me with respect and honesty, and eventually remarried, creating a new family that was built on trust and love rather than lies and deception. I never forgot what David had done, but I stopped letting it define me because I had moved on and I was happier than I had ever been. I often think about the night I went on live TV and exposed my husband to the world, and I realized that I did something that felt terrifying and impossible at the time, but it was the best decision I ever made. I could have stayed quiet. I could have suffered in silence. I could have let David get away with what he had done. But I didn't, because I knew that the truth was more powerful than any lie, and that the people who hurt us deserve to face the consequences of their actions. The best revenge against someone who steals from you and lies to you is not to scream or cry. It's to expose them publicly, to show everyone exactly who they really are, and to watch their entire world collapse around them because of their own choices. I have never regretted what I did because I know that I did the right thing, not just for myself, but for every other person who has been betrayed by someone they trusted. David is a cautionary tale now. A man who had everything and lost it all because he couldn't control his greed and his selfishness. I am not a victim anymore. I am a survivor, a woman who stood up for herself and refused to let anyone take away what was rightfully hers, no matter how much they tried to manipulate and gaslight her into silence. The best revenge against someone who steals from you and lies to you is not to scream or cry. It's to expose them publicly, to show everyone exactly who they really are, and to watch their entire world collapse around them because of their own choices. The truth is always more powerful than any lie.